What is up, Hammerheads? Welcome back to the Forge. Today, we're making our final project for March. We're making a bottle opener. And I'm going to show you what to do if you break one. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so we're using a piece of 1 inch by quarter by about 4 inches long. If you want to go longer with it, you can. I'm not making a huge bottle opener. I just want to make something a little nice. But the first thing I'm going to do is neck this down right in this area and draw it out a little bit where the handle is. Then I'm going to come back, round up the corners on this a little bit, then we'll punch our hole and start drifting. Alright guys, I'm gonna grab a measure. About an inch in. I'm gonna go about an inch in over the anvil. Might move the camera over, I'm sorry. There we go, so I can work. Let me just mark my spots. All I'm doing is marking, so I'm separating where the bottle opener will be and the handle. Alright, let's get another heat on it. All I'm doing right now, guys, is making that division. Then I'm going to flip it around and then start drawing the handle out. Alright, so I've made my division on where I want my bottle opener to be. We're going to draw, like I said, I'm going to draw the handle out. And then we're going to punch our hole and then start rounding that out to make our bottle opener. Now I'm just making this handle the way I want it to be made, guys. Thin it out a little bit. Gonna make it just a hair longer. Kind of rounding it out and everything. Now I'm just straightening everything up. I'm not forging, I'm not even hitting that hard. Alright guys, I'm gonna make this, I don't know what I want to do on this. Maybe hammer texture it, make it a little wider, play around with it, guys. Guys, I'm just tapering down the edge and the sides right here, putting a little bevel on it just to make it look cool. Kind of give it a little more three-dimensional effect. Then I'm going to flatten this just a hair. Alright, I'm going to flatten this and just make it a little bit, draw it out a little bit wider, then we're going to punch our hole. Alright guys, as you can see, I am moving the material around. I am not moving my hammer. I'm hammering in one spot. Now, I got this hammered out roughly the length I want, or the width I want right now. Now, I'm going to go ahead and mark my hole. I'm going to find as center as I possibly can by eyeballing. About right there. Now I got it marked. Now I'm going to come out and punch the hole. Alright guys, just came out. Y'all don't know how bad I almost just reached down and grabbed this. Alright, cool. all the way through. I'm gonna mark where my next hole, or where I'm gonna start at, right there. I'm gonna cool down my tool, cool down the tip, and then I'm gonna come back out, we're gonna knock that slug out. All right, guys, I'm about to move y'all back just a hair so I don't hit the camera again. What else is new, right? Pop the slug right out, guys. Now, cool this down. Now I'm gonna use my punch as a drift. I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna start drifting this hole out and making it bigger so it'll fit over my bottle. Okay, guys, just hammering that down. Now, I'm gonna drift this out. This may take a couple heats. And then we'll start shaping it over the horn of the anvils. These don't take super long to make, guys, but they're really nice to take with you to a fair or a festival. Alright, went all the way through with it. Now, my horn is a little too big, so I'm going to use my Bic iron. But, if your anvil has a really sharp horn, you can use that. I'm going to heat it up and I'm going to start hammering these corners in and opening this up a little bit more. And if you hear some talking in the background, guys, I'm actually listening to a Whatnot auction. If you're curious about what Whatnot is, I'll leave a link in the description. I sell on there also, and there's some really good knife sellers on there that sell all kinds of stuff. Alright guys, open it up a little bit more, but I think I'm going to find a little bit bigger drift and drift it a little bit bigger out so I'm not having to try to hammer around this as much. Adapt and overcome whenever you come up to a situation. Ah, it snapped. Freaking broke it. Alright guys, so that broke while I was making the bottle opener. And I was going to just stop and completely redo the video. And I am going to redo a video for this. But this is one of those times where there are no mistakes. It's a design change. And I got an idea. So I'm gonna try something. If it works out, it works out. If it don't, it don't. But I know what I did wrong. I got excited about drifting this hole out, and the metal got too cool. I seen it right off, and I should have stopped. And I was like, one more hit, and it ripped it apart. So, gonna turn this into something else. Well, it's gonna be a bottle opener. But I'm going to shape it a little different. So, let me look at something. I think the shape that I have might work. But we will go back and go ahead and repunch a hole in another one and go ahead and shape it out. But I want to see what this will turn into also. So guys, number one thing to pay attention to is slow down, don't get overexcited, take your time, and drift your hole out right. open this up just a hair. Heck, I'm gonna get it hot again. Then I'm gonna open up the other side a little bit too. When in doubt, there are no mistakes. It's a design change. Kind of looks like an eye right there. Design change. Got an idea. Guys, I'm gonna do a little stamp right here. Which kind of made that look like an eye. That looks like a tail right back here on this portion. Kind of like a fish jumping out of the water. Maybe hammer that down a little bit. Now I'm gonna get it hot before I break anything else. Just kind of tapping around, looking, see what it does. Kind of looks like a Celtic kind of fish. What do y'all think? But don't think just because something messed up a little bit that you've ruined it. Now you adapt and overcome and make something better. All right, guys, gonna close this up just a hair. Now, bend this down just a hair. Wait, wrong way. That way. Now I'm just gonna mark where I want this to go. Actually, I want to do a bigger one. Let me grab, I got a bigger punch. I want to do a little bit bigger nub there. I think it'd look good. All right, guys, half on, half off. I want to set where I want it to be at. Then I'm driving this down. Be careful that you don't get it too far out of whack, or it won't work well. Make it just a hair bigger. I just think that'd look good. Don't worry, everything will clean up good. Alright guys, I got off hit on one of that too. Doing this when you're sick is really hard to do. Hard to concentrate. Perfect. Alright guys, that's what it looks like. Now, I'm going to cool it down. I'm going to see how well it works. And then we'll actually go back. I'm going to forge everything up until this point on it. And then up until punching, or up until drifting the hole. And then we will come back and drift the hole and do everything like we're supposed to. All right, guys, I got us back to where we were basically at when I punched the hole. Now we're gonna drift the hole. So we're gonna heat the material up. Make sure you have a really good heat. And take your time. Don't get overexcited like I did on the last one. So I'm gonna go back in the fire, I'm gonna come out, and I'm gonna drift with our original punch. And then I'm going to shape it a little bit over the Bic iron. And then I'm going to use the bigger drift to drift it out where I roughly need it to be. Alright guys, so I flipped my material over, and I might have forgot to say this the last time when I was making the other one. But I did that so I didn't create that dimple on the back. And it keeps everything kind of flat so nothing will roll over and you get a cold shut. So hammer it and then flip it over. Now if you're doing a tomahawk, the tomahawk drift only goes in one direction. Yeah, because the way the drift is made. This, I'm wanting to make it more of a uniform circle all the way around. So you'll go in one side, flip it over, go on the other side, and then once you pretty much get established, you should be able to just come in from one side. If not, just flip it back and forth. Something got stuck. Alright guys, we drilled that all the way through. I barely tapped this. Nobody freak out on me. Alright. Need to go a little bit wider. So I'm gonna flip it, drift it from this side. Looks to be about the right size, almost to fit our bottle, so I'm gonna bring out the big iron. If you have a sharp enough horn on your anvil, you can do all this work on the anvil. If not, with your punch still inside, you can shape it around also. So I'm gonna go all the way up on the big iron. Rounding this out. Looking good so far. I think we're gonna have to drift it out just a hair more. Let me check. Yeah. Gonna have to drift it out just a hair more. All right, guys, this is a critical point where you could rip apart on you. So look, tap, stop right there because that's where I want it to be. All right, now this side's my top. I am going to heat it up to bring it out and tap it down to make it more oblong shape, just because. And then I'm going to put in where the dimple is so we can open the bottle. I like that. Check it over here at the bottle. Perfect. All right, now when we come out of the fire again, I'm gonna go ahead and establish where I want to put this dimple. Now, I'm gonna put one right next to it because it's a smaller punch. So the reason why we'll go ahead and mark my spot so I know where I'm going when I come out of the fire. But also, I want to do 2 dimples, so it's going to push it out a little bit further. Because this is a smaller punch, I want to make sure I have enough mass there to be able to hook onto the bottle. Alrighty. Now be careful doing this, guys, so you don't shoot this metal back at you. But I go to one mark and then I go to the one next to it. And I'm just pushing this material down. Don't forget to hit it in the front a little bit. So, because you're not punching a hole, you're making a divot. So move it around some. But I think we got it right there. Now, I want to clean up this handle a little bit because I really don't like the design I did. But all in all, that's our bottle opener, guys. So I'm gonna go in the fire, bring it back out, do a little bit more hammer texture on the handle. All right, guys, I'm just gonna texture this out. I'm just hammering on the edges all the way around, just to give it a little bit more dimension. Putting those hammer marks in there. So, gave it a little bit more dimension, a little bit of hammer texture, kicking down those edges and everything. Just making it look nice. Now, I'm gonna go over and touch mark it, and then we're gonna talk about what we learned today. All right, guys, so let's get real for a minute and talk about what we learned today. Well, we forged 2 bottle openers, and as you can see in the clip that I'm pulling up, that it does open bottles. They work really well, and these are a great item to take with you to any craft show or any fair, festival, and it's great demo items to do while you're there. They're very fast once you get the process down pat, and it's a really nice item to toss out on the table as what I call bread and butter items. They're the ones that you can almost guarantee are gonna sell, and then you have your higher end items like your knives, your bigger decorative items, your grease lamps and stuff, that when they sell, you get a bigger payout, but might not sell as fast. These are almost guaranteed to sell, along with matchstick holders, hooks, meat turners, you know, crosses, leaf necklaces, leaf keychains, things like that. All right, so let's talk about the construction of these. Now, I will talk about why I continued to finish this one out in just a minute, well, after I broke it. But let's talk about construction of our bottle opener. So when you're drifting your eye, remember, punch your hole, flip it, knock out your slug like you always would punch in your hole. Then start drifting. Then flip your item over and drift it a little bit more. Work back and forth, because you're not trying to make it a taper like you would with a tomahawk, because a tomahawk drift is tapered because the handle's tapered. You're wanting to keep this as round as possible. So flipping back and forth does 2 things. It's gonna help you keep your material from splitting, because it's not forcing it through and pushing it open, it's pushing it out when you flip it back and forth. And it's also gonna help keep things uniform. So, do not get super greedy. It's the only way I could describe it, because that's what happened here. When I split this one, I got greedy. I lost my heat, and I was like, I could hit it 1 or 2 more times. It's still about 900 degrees. It was too cold in that one spot, and that's what ripped it apart. Now, did it work out for me? Yes, and I'll talk about that again, like I said, in a second. But take your time with it. Hammer on it a little bit. When you see that you're losing your heat, pop it back in the fire, come back out, flip it over, do the other side. Now, as you're coming close to the end, where you're getting wide enough, especially if you're using thinner material, watch every time you hit. Get up close to your material. Don't be staying way back here trying to look. Get right up on your material. Don't be afraid of it. It won't hurt you. And then hit once or twice. Look at it. If it looks like it's starting to crack, stop. Pop it, take it out, look at it. You might be able to file out the crack, or you might have to make a design change and make a different style bottle opener. Now, since I said all that, let's talk about the one we messed up. Now, if I asked the majority of the people when they split this open, they were going to say I would throw it away because I messed it up. I try to look at the design factor of everything. So, as I looked at this, and as you can see, I made a little bump here, popped an eye there, and that looks like a tail. It looks like a fish. Now, I think I might fuller this, or draw this out a little bit with a chisel and put like the little lines in it for the fish's tail. But I don't know yet. I kind of like the way this looks. It kind of looks Celtic, kind of looks Vikingish, if the Vikings had a bottle opener. But I looked at the design of it. A bottle opener does not have to be completely closed up. You could do a little J-hook on the end as long as it's small enough and you put that little dimple in the right place, it will open bottles. I've done it hundreds of times with leaf bottle openers and other designs that I've done, and it worked. So just because you messed it up does not mean it's garbage. Remember, there are no mistakes. It's a design change. So look at it, go, okay, it kind of looks like this. It'll look cool if I bend this over, because I could have easily drew out both of these, curled it over on both sides and closed it and made it look like a heart, and it would be a heart bottle opener. Or twist them up together, and I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do. You just have to stop for a second and not accept defeat or failure on it. Look at it and say, I can do this and I can turn it into this. Now, is there going to be times where you just can't fix it? Yeah. But about 99% of the time, 98% of the time, you're going to be able to turn it into something else, and you're not going to have to completely start all over. And then it becomes a fancy bottle opener. So take a few minutes. If it breaks, if something happens, if it splits, look at it and say, I can turn it into this, or I can make it look like this now. Don't get so hung up on it has to be exactly this one design. Now, if you are making this for a client who's looking for something specific, finish this one out, throw it in your bag for your next show, and then make a new one for your client. But all right, guys, so these two items, the heart hook and this bottle opener, I will have on my Etsy shop by Saturday evening. These two will be on my Whatnot auction Monday, April the 1st, about 8:30 is when I'm going to be doing the show. My daughter has a class. So basically, when I get home, I'm going to be just turning on the auction, and we're going to be going. If you don't know what Whatnot is, I talk about it a little bit in the video, but it is an online live auction where I sell knives and I sell some handmade stuff that I have also. So come check that out if you would like to hop in and bid on these items. Like I said, I'll leave a link in the description, and it gives you a certain amount like credit, but I don't know how much that is. So come check that on Monday. We have a good time laughing and just all kinds of craziness. We have some cool people that come in and chat with me. And there's some really good sellers on there too, guys. Handmade stuff, absolutely beautiful items, and vintage clothing. I mean, you can sell just about anything on there. So check out that also, guys. But again, guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you on the next one. God bless. Keep hammering.